we're going to show the world that nothing will get us down. Dayton, Ohio, no matter what's going on, no matter how tough these times get, we hold our heads up high because we know what we're about.
That, of course, comedian Dave Chappelle pumping up the crowd that gathered in Dayton's Oregon District for the Gem City Shine benefit concert. Thank you for joining us here for 10 TV News at 11. I'm Scott Light. Tonight's concert took place, though, 3 weeks after a gunman shot and killed 9 people there in that entertainment district. 10 TV's Cierra Johnson spent the day there, where gunshots and tears were replaced with music and laughter. Cierra, good evening to you.
Good evening, Scott. The last few stragglers from this concert are making their way to their car. And at some point today, I heard a little boy say, today was simply magical. And honestly, I have to agree. Something really special happened here at the Oregon District. You saw strangers hugging, you saw strangers dancing, all of which taking place right here and really showing the nation that Dayton is, in fact, Dayton strong. Weeks after tragedy, a community is coming together.
We're not going to let it define us. I think that's what the resiliency is.
For so many Dayton residents and transplants, Gem City Shine, a concert to benefit victims of the Oregon District shooting, is about unity.
It's a community vibration. I can't explain it. It's just, we do because we're from Dayton. We're Dayton strong.
Thousands line the streets of the Oregon District, a part of town most recently associated with tragedy. But tonight, there was a buzz of excitement, a renewed sense of pride.
You have reclaimed this area with love, with hope, and with resilience.
Host Dave Chappelle and guests like Jon Stewart, Chance the Rapper, and Stevie Wonder reminded guests of their power to triumph over tragedy. Thousands stood shoulder to shoulder, taking in the sounds of a legend. Many grateful to take in the sight, all while still thinking about those lost in the early morning massacre.
It's just waking up and putting your feet on the ground because so many people did not do that behind what happened.
Tonight was truly something special. I did have a chance to speak with the Dayton Mayor, Nan Whaley, earlier today. She says this event was primarily organized by Dave Chappelle. He came out of pocket for the stage and he helped organize those guests, so the folks here in Dayton did not have to pay for much. We're live here in the Oregon District of Dayton. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Cierra, thank you. 10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us now with what workers are asking for, and also this, how a strike would affect our state. Cierra?
Yeah, Scott, union leaders say GM still is not seeing eye to eye on key issues like job security, health care, and wages. So much so, nearly 50,000 union workers are ready to strike, with several thousand of those employees right here in the Buckeye State. Now, this strike comes after the union let the contract of GM expire Saturday night. Talks between both sides have been tense given the closure of several plants, including the Lordstown, Ohio plant. Workers fighting for GM to produce new products at the closed plants receive a bigger portion of the company's profit and create an easier system from temp workers to become permanent say they are not accepting GM's current offer. An economist with OSU says the move to strike will be felt here in Central Ohio, with a strike within the automotive industry serving as another indicator of a looming recession.
The troubles with Boeing and now Airbus, the big rock. The trade war, that's another big rock thrown against the window. Now if we add in a prolonged auto strike, that's going to do two things. Not only will it directly affect the auto industry and the supply chain, but the rest of business investment is going to go to the sidelines. And it's already pretty much sitting there now.
A strike at midnight would be the union's first since a 2-day work stoppage at GM in 2007. Scott?
All right, Cierra, thank you.
A big shock to the neighborhood. It's the first time anything like this has happened.
Neighbors living on Ridgelawn Avenue say shock doesn't begin to explain how they felt opening their front doors Friday night.
When I looked out, there was just cops lying down the street. The ambulance was sitting over in front of that house.
Around 9, Newark Police and Fire responded to this home where they found 12-year-old Isabella Barnes shot and killed on her front porch. Police later identified this teen, 18-year-old Keegan Mummy, as her shooter. He was seen leaving the scene on a bicycle and later picked up on a bicycle on State Route 79 between Heath and Hebron. But police believe he got rid of the gun before he was found.
I grew up in this town. I was born and raised here. And the whole time I was a kid, I never hardly heard of any, shootings or any of that. There's no ruckus, there's no loud noise. You don't have nobody partying or anything like that. I mean, it's always quiet, just like it is right now.
Mummy is facing aggravated murder charges. Neighbors still have questions about what played out in the moments before the trigger was pulled.
What was going on for this boy to come back to shoot somebody? And was it meant for the young boy? And then she took the shot?
Questions police are still working to answer.
I mean, it's scary. It really is.
In Newark, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Cierra Johnson is in Circleville with who's got him and who doesn't. Cierra.
Good evening, Jerry and Yolanda. It's hard to believe it is already that time of year. For many families here in Pickaway County, the pumpkin show is really the official start of the fall season. And although I can tell you it feels pretty cold out here, folks are coming out in droves to experience, as you mentioned, any and everything pumpkin related. You can see the tower here of pumpkins, as well as folks eating pumpkin donuts, drinking cider, all things fall. But for many farmers, this has really been a labor of love. Many of the fields that were planted around Memorial Day were flooded by heavy rain, and we actually had a chance to head north, start at Lynn's farm in Pataskala. Now, Lynn's co-owner Andy Lynn says inclement weather this spring left the family-owned farm with fewer pumpkins at their U-pick fields.
This particular year, we had a lot of rain during planting season, so we would plant our field when we had opportunity. But then if we had heavy rain immediately following that, it would flood the field and ruin the seed. So we would wait for it to dry out. We'd try again. We were hoping to plant 30 acres. We ended up with 15 acres of pumpkins that we were pleased with that we could sell to the public.
Good news, the folks at Lynn say they do still have a ton of apples that were not impacted by any of the inclement weather, so there's good news there. But if you are still in the mood for something pumpkin, this is obviously your place to come. This event runs until Saturday, and I can tell you it is a good time. We're live in Circleville. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Thanks, Cierra. 10 TV's Cierra Johnson is live at that scene. Cierra, what are you seeing tonight?
Yes, Brittany, Columbus police tonight remaining pretty tight-lipped about what played out here on the city's southeast side. Behind me, you can see that all too familiar yellow crime tape and those flashing lights, obviously indicating still a very active scene. We've also seen several smaller yellow cones, which typically indicate shell casings. We've also seen a bullet hole in that white car back in the distance, as well as the window of that vaping store was broken. Now, this is video that we did shoot earlier. Investigators have been on the scene now for 5 hours working to learn what played out in the situation in the moments before a person was shot really in broad daylight in the shopping center. That person, we have learned, was transported and is currently listed in life-threatening condition. And tonight, again, we are still working to learn more about what played out in the moments before that trigger was pulled. We will, of course, bring you the latest as that information becomes available. We're on the city's southeast side. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News. Neighbors I spoke to say the suspect in this situation is really no stranger to this neighborhood. They say they would see him walking up and down the street, sometimes with his girlfriend. And tonight, those same neighbors are saying they're surprised this on-again, off-again relationship ended in bloodshed.
They were close, like they sound like they were on my rooftop. That's how close they were.
Brianna Warner said she had just put her kids to bed when the upstairs of her home rattled with the sound of gunshots.
I heard the shots and I seen her. That's it.
A quick look outside revealed Warner's neighbor, 36-year-old Tamika Lee Turner, shot dead, lying in the middle of East 13th Avenue.
For a woman, 36, I'm 30. That's 6 years from my age. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was young.
Warner said she became acquainted with Turner and her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Rashawn Lamar Cumberlander, about 2 years ago. She says their young daughter was about the same age as her daughter and they became friends. But she noticed the relationship between Cumberlander and Warner was strained.
They just always argued. Like, it really never was like a day where they didn't argue.
An initial investigation by CPD revealed similar sentiment, and police are now looking for the 37-year-old. Cumberlander is no stranger to the law. According to the Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, he's currently monitored by the state's Adult Parole Authority for aggravated assault and possession of drugs. The question now, where is he? Police say after shooting Turner, he fled and is considered armed and dangerous.
I'm in grief right now. Like, I really, honestly, I'm talking to y'all because of the tragic.
So again, tonight, the search is on for that suspect. And unfortunately, this is not the first fatal domestic situation. All New at 6 will explain to you a situation that left both a man and a woman dead. On the city's north side, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.